No compromise. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life, I've been grinding all my life. All my life.
Welcome to Darren and Sterling here, ESPN Kansas City, 1510 AM, 94.5 FM, 1510.com. I am live in studio on a hot day. Feels great. Great Tuesday. Darren from his home studio. Darren, how you doing?
Doing good. Like you said, it is hot. I was not expecting this type of weather. I thought it was supposed to be fall still, and the weather's supposed to be cool. I'm trying to wear, hoodies and stuff. So, but I'm doing good, man. The Dallas Cowboys won last night. You know what I'm saying? The straight cash homie. I know we all hit on our parlays last night, so I'm good, man.
Easy money.
Well, look, it had me hold my breath for a second. I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, I know the Cowboys are probably going to score again, but will they score enough points, or at least will Philadelphia make it close enough to where it'll get us over the hump? And then once it got to be around 48 points, I think it was 14 to 28 or something like that, or some in that vicinity. I was like, okay, we got a chance, and so that's all I needed.
What I took away from last night's game was the Kansas City Chiefs better destroy the Eagles. The Eagles look horrible. If Dallas is out there winning by 20, the Chiefs, the defense, this should be their game to take over. Jalen Hurts wasn't good. Put it mildly, wasn't good. The Eagles' offense was horrendous. I don't know why they weren't giving the ball to Miles Sanders. I'm the guy. You know me. I'm not a guy who's a run first. But when you have Miles Sanders, who's averaging, 13 and a half yards a carry on 2 carries, what the hell are you doing? Jalen Hurts is getting killed back here. At least give your team a chance.
Well, and here's the thing: they lost their left guard as well. What's the name? Isaac Samalo. They lost it. They lost him last night, and they're already without Brandon Brooks. They're without Jordan Matella, and so the fact that they lost these players. Look, you brought up a good point. Kansas City has no excuses on not winning the game on Sunday when they travel up this weekend, along with yours truly up to Philadelphia this weekend. So you would think that Chris Jones and company would be licking their chops, but to be quite honest, they're probably still licking their wounds right now after Sunday's loss to the Los Angeles Chargers. So, look, to be honest, it's going to be a bounce back game for both teams. Both teams are going in Sunday's game dealing with losses. Now one was probably expected on our end, the other on our end wasn't expected. So, excited about the game. I mean, we saw on film last night what Jalen Hurts looks like, and you don't really know which Jalen Hurts that you're going to get. But if we see the Jalen Hurts that performed last night, then it should be good for the Chiefs on Sunday, and perhaps even some stats from Patrick Mahomes and company that might help us out with some parlays, Sterling.
So the Cowboys, to their credit, looked pretty darn good. They didn't even have to use Amari Cooper. Dak Prescott was throwing to some of the third, fourth string guys, letting Dalton Schultz take over. Both Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott had big games. Are the Cowboys a good team? Should they be taken seriously in the NFC, or are they just facing an inferior opponent and took advantage?
They should be taken as a serious contender. You got to remember, even in their loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they were in that game all the way to the end. Dak just made the mistake that Patrick made his first year as a starter, and that was leaving too much time on the clock for Tom Brady. Brian Woods, who commented on our Facebook page, stated that Dallas controlled the defensive line of scrimmage and they could not run the ball, which is exactly what they did. Defensively, Dallas has been much, much more improved. They're creating turnovers. If I'm correct, I think they lead the league in turnovers that they created. And so, the addition of Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs, I mean, those players alone have really made the Dallas defense that much better. Jalen Smith, Leighton Vander Esch, they're all playing with a sense of purpose now, and they're getting after the ball. So, look, when they're bad, we make fun of them. When they're good, we gotta give them the credit. And obviously the former Atlanta Falcons DC or head coach that's that's over there now as a Cowboys DC has done a great job with this defense.
Yeah, they forced two interceptions last night. Again, something that takes at least that's good for them is they have a very balanced offense, and a lot of that comes from their offensive line. They just put huge holes for whoever is back there. Ezekiel Elliott, great game. Tony Pollard, great game. But it all starts with that offensive line. They struggled last year because they had all of those injuries, including obviously Dak Prescott. But that offensive line was decimated. Now that they're back, now that they're relatively healthy, this team, I think, looks pretty scary.
Oh yeah. I mean, as you said, for someone who doesn't like a team that runs the ball, they're actually doing the right thing in how they're handling Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott. And look, when you don't have to have Dak throw the ball 50 sometimes, that's a plus as well. Now, Sterling, now you're someone who likes stats, right? You're someone who likes
Love it.
analytics, correct?
Love it.
Guess what the Dallas Cowboys record is when they run more than they pass? No,
Well,
no, no, no,
just
no,
so
no,
you
no, no,
know,
no, no,
Darren,
no, no, no. Just
sure. And I'll tell you why you take it with a grain of salt, but give me the stat.
26-0.
So the reason why you have to take that sort of stat with a grain of salt, because when you're leading, of course you're going to run more. So when you
Well,
run at the clock, what are you doing? You're
well,
running the football.
well,
So
well,
those type of stats you have to take into
no,
context.
but Sterling, but here's the flip side. I got to take what you said in context because what have we seen from the Cowboys over the last couple of seasons? They always find themselves trailing. So when they're trailing and they're trailing by big leads, yes, Dak's getting all those empty calorie points or yardages or whatever. So it makes it look like it's more of a passing team than it is. Dallas. Now I can't speak for other teams in the league, but Dallas is a run based offense because it's predicated on the run because of how their offensive line and how their offense is built. The thing is, again, that stat of 26-0 is not like that for a reason because they generally, if they can get on, if they can get to a lead, then yes, saying that you can count on Ezekiel Elliott to, not fumble the ball as much as he as he has or as he did last year, but he can take care of the football. When you have a team that can run the ball effectively, and Dak can do some play action and score like that, yes, I mean that becomes a balanced offense. Now for Dallas that that works. Now it may not work for Kansas City. It did when the Chiefs had Kareem Hunt. Obviously, it's not like that now. But for that particular team, that particular stat works for that team. Dak Prescott was efficient. He was 21 of 26, 238, 3 touchdowns. Ezekiel Elliott, kind of looked like, but look, even if you go Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard, those two together, 155 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, is that
Yeah,
balanced or is that
I've
not
been
balanced?
no, I've been a fan of Tony Pollard, but again, this is against a team where they were up the whole game. They didn't need Dak Prescott, but Tony Pollard has always impressed me.
Yeah,
Tony Pollard,
you've
I
always
think,
been a
is
big fan of it. I'll give you that.
yeah, and just because I think he is extremely talented. But again, it all comes down to the offensive line. The offensive line of the Cowboys just they build holes, man. This Chiefs team has not been able to build holes like we thought they were. At least early on, I get it. The Chiefs' offensive line, they're all new. It's 5 new faces. It's going to take time to grow. They're going to have to gel. You're not just going to all of a sudden turn into a run-first team or at least spring Clyde for 5-6 yards of carry consistently. It takes time. I will say, though, Clyde has struggled hitting the holes that have been there. Last week was his best performance, 17 carries, 100 yards? That should be consistent for Clyde because they're not stacking the boxes against the Chiefs. Every single team is having light boxes because they know Patrick Mahomes is on this roster. They got to double Tyreek or double Travis. So I want to see if they can build from that, 5.5 yards a carry from Clyde? That should be the new normal for this Chiefs team.
I don't disagree with that at all. I will say that the biggest takeaway that I thought about coming out of last night's game is one, like you said, the Chiefs should not have a hard time beating the Philadelphia Eagles this upcoming weekend. But to be honest, this is not going to be a walk in the park when the Chiefs do host the Dallas Cowboys in November. That Dallas Cowboys, now that I think about it, that game is going to be so lit in Kansas City. It's going to be so light, especially if Dallas can. Now, granted, we're only 3 weeks in, They're 2-1. Chiefs are 1-2. But if the Cowboys are leading their division by the time they come to Kansas City, the game's already going to be, late afternoon. America's game of the week is going to be shown all over the country. Everybody's going to be trying to be at this particular game. Cowboys, Chiefs. Obviously the original two Dallas teams when the Chiefs were the Texans. But to be honest, Kansas City has to worry about making sure that they don't fumble the ball and that Pat doesn't throw any interceptions because all three games, the Dallas Cowboys have been able to force turnovers against their opponents, and that's something that has worried me when I watched that game last night.
So when it comes to Kansas City, the reason why I'm not super worried is they haven't had a history, at least when Patrick Mahomes has been here, of turning the ball over. I know when he came out of college, everyone thought, oh, he's gunslinger, he's Brett Favre, he's going to throw a ton of interceptions. He hasn't done that. So I don't expect this to continue. He doesn't have a history of this. He does take very good care of the football. So when it comes to interceptions, I don't expect that to continue. And as far as like Tyreek Hill or Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Clyde never had a history of fumbling either. He has two in his past two games. Obviously, the one that lost them the football game, that was massive. But even last week, the one that he fumbled on, that was the one that you're like, okay, I could see someone fumbling. He was getting held up by, two defensive players. There was a helmet on the football that came out when he was getting twisted around. You're like, all right, I can see that one. So going forward, honestly, I'm not too worried or concerned about Kansas City and turning the ball over.
Okay, I mean, we just have a slight disagreement on that. As the season progresses, Patrick does get a little bit more careless with the football. I mean, he did. I know his MVP season, even though he had 50 touchdowns, he did have, I think, 10 or 12 interceptions. I mean, it does now. It may balance itself out. Obviously, we've never seen Patrick with 3 interceptions in September, so hopefully it kind of balances out where he didn't throw, many the rest of the season. Because I think last year he only had 5 and I think Aaron Rodgers only had 4. So I mean, I understand. I'm with you where he doesn't throw that many, but he's also when he's always trying to make something happen, you have that possibility of an interception or a turnover taking place. But Sterling, here's the thing. It looks like Patrick Mahomes has another potential weapon that's on the way. Well, it's already here and that's been signed. One wide receiver, Josh Gordon, signed to the practice squad today with the intentions on, of course, the Chiefs promoting him to the main roster. Want to get your thoughts on that because I know this was the discussion and what was taking place as we were on the show yesterday and afterwards. But it became official today where the Chiefs were able to sign him after passing the physical, and I wanted your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so now it's official, official, official. I love the signing. As far as the scale of 1 to 10 on my excitement, I'd probably say 6.5 out of 10. The reason why you got to tamper it back, well, again, it's not like they're signing DeAndre Hopkins. Josh Gordon's best year came in 2013. That's 8 years ago, right?
Yeah.
I still think he has a lot left in the tank. I mean, he hasn't played in a lot of football games. But where I think he's going to thrive, it's not going to be an every down situation. So for everyone who thinks he's going to go out there, put up 1,000+ yards and 10 touchdowns, I think you're smoking. But I do think he's going to be very good in the red zone. The Chiefs have struggled to have that big body possession wide receiver. They have Travis Kelce, and that's about it. The addition of Josh Gordon, to me, unleashes another aspect of this Chiefs offense. We all know the Chiefs were best when the X wide receiver with Sammy Watkins was in there. It added another element. Even if Sammy wasn't putting up big numbers, you had to account for him. That's what allowed Travis Kelce, Tyreek, the whole offense to run as smoothly as it did. I think Josh Gordon, while the numbers won't be great, will allow this Chiefs offense to run at full potential.
Sterling, you've been listening to me far too much, and I like that. You hit it on the head, and this is what I was trying to explain to Steve last night on the Red Hour, and that's the addition of what he brings to the red zone. Because as fast as Tyreek Hill is, you can't outrun 30 yards, or 20 some yards because the field shortens, and so because he's not a big body receiver, he's short. I mean, he's shorter than I am. He's thick, but he can't really get that position. Like Patrick has to be on the money when it comes to throwing it to those type of receivers. I think the biggest one I think you could probably say is Jody Fortson, but how often is he going to be out there? I know that's for Steve. Well, you throw to Fortson. Fortson ain't going to be out there like that. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, Obviously this kid here, Gordon will be. I mean, and look, I, I'm not going to say because Steve's concern was when we were talking about it last night was that, well, he didn't know the playbook. I'm like, as a wide receiver, you just need to know the route tree. He could line up Sunday. All he has to do is before he breaks the huddle, Patrick tells him, hey, run a 7, run a 9, run a 3. And that's, and as long as he knows his route tree, boom, that's what he has to do. Now, if he has to break off and improvise, that works better for probably he and Patrick. The thing is, you can throw it up high and don't have to worry about it being him not coming down with it like a defensive back. Most and I don't know if you noticed, Sterling, a lot of defensive backs are short. Yeah, and I've always been trying to figure out. I think Jalen Ramsey might be the tallest one that I can think of right offhand, but I've been trying to figure out why teams don't draft taller cornerbacks,
They
who are a little
try.
speedy, But nah, it just kills me because it's like, I mean, some of these receivers are big, and you got these 6'3", 6'4" wide receivers, and I'm like, why you got somebody that's 5'11"? I'm like, I throw it up over them all day, every day, and twice on Sundays, and so I think Josh Gordon, his addition is going to be great for this offense, especially in the red zone, as you mentioned. My question to you, and I don't know if it's a question or a concern, but if you're a wide receiver in that room currently, what's that say about your production, or what does that say about the team's belief in you that they have to go out and sign Josh Gordon to the team?
So I have two quick thoughts on this. One, the main one is you should have saw this coming because the Chiefs in the offseason, they tried to get Juju Smith-Schuster, right? They tried. They struck out. They tried to get T.Y. Hilton. They struck out. So they tried getting some names in the offseason, but struck out. So they shouldn't be surprised they're trying to have an addition. They tried drafting Cornell Powell. Well, Cornell Powell didn't flash, didn't show anything. So
Practice
if
squad.
you are, for example, if you're like Doris Fountain, you kind of probably saw this coming. If you're Marcus Kemp, I think Marcus Kemp stays in the roster because of special teams, but you probably saw this coming. They tried to improve at the wide receiver 2, which AKA bumps everyone else back one spot. If you are Fountain, if you are Kemp, you're probably at least a little irritated because you're like, I busted my ass. I did all of this work in the offseason, the OTAs. You trusted me enough to put me on your roster, and then you bring in a guy who has had a ton of off the field issues, not been able to do what the teams have asked of him, and then you bring him in because of the potential of what he has done in the past. So I could see it both ways of a guy like Fountain or Kemp or even Jody Fortson, because this could cut into his playing time to an extent. I could see those guys being at least a little bit irritated.
Well, first of all, if they do feel irritated, Sterling, they have no one to blame but themselves because they've had those players who have been on the active roster, especially McCole, DeMarcus, Byron. Over the last couple of seasons when they've had opportunities, they didn't make the best of them. People have been harping on DeMarcus Robinson. That's my guy. Saying I tried to, but I'm trying to be credible. You can't catch a pass from Patrick Mahomes and run in the opposite direction like it's an interception. You can't do that. And so even though Patrick will say the right things about having confidence in his players and belief in his players, but I mean, there's a reason why a lot of those throws that he makes focus on Tyreek, focuses on Travis Kelsey, because he knows when he throws on the ball, he can depend on them to 99% of the time catch the football. The other ones, McCole has to keep running, keep running his route. Don't stop running, speed up. DeMarcus, you got to run in the right direction. Byron Pringle, you can't, Marcus Kemp, you can't let the ball, hit you in the hands and turn, and it becomes a turnover. There are things like that, Patrick, like I said, he won't say it to the media, but that's the talk in the locker room. Like, bro, you got to get things, you got to get it right, you got to get better. And again, I think that someone like Josh Gordon, if anything, it should make them step their game up even more. Because if you're worried about your reps, then one, you should have been worried about it before they even sign it. But two, you better make sure when your number is called that you ball. And if not, well, I mean, that's why they brought him in.
Yeah, so I think Fountain's probably the easy guy you point to as, okay, he's going on the practice squad whenever Josh Gordon's ready. I don't believe Josh Gordon's going to be active on Sunday, maybe against the Bills, but I would assume probably about a 2-week grace period of him on the practice squad, getting him back into game shape, getting him ready. He's always been a great athlete, so I'm not worried about conditioning as much. but who's going to be the inactive receiver on game day, right? Because if Fountain goes to the practice squad, he's been the guy who's been inactive. I think D-Rob, McCole. Is this going to be a case of Byron Pringle? Is he going to be the guy who's inactive? Is Marcus Kemp? But Marcus Kemp, they seem to just absolutely love on special teams. Is it going to be a lineman? I'm interested to see how the actual game day actives play out with the addition of Josh Gordon.
Well, when he's promoted, that'll be a good conversation at that time, which we probably won't know until either the weekend it happens or game day. But let's not overlook one thing. You know, this move doesn't get made, and we talked about how the wide receiver should feel, but this move doesn't get made without consultation and approval from Patrick Mahomes.
100%. I agree. I think that for sure does not get moved. If Patrick told Andy or Brett V said, you know what, no, I think D-Rob or I think McCole is going to take the next step this year, or I think Byron's going to be my guy, then no, this doesn't get – I want Byron at the X for 80% of snaps, then I don't think this move gets made. So I'm with you. I think Patrick probably was at least brought to his attention with Josh Gordon.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. I mean, we don't now. Everybody says Andy's playbook is complex. Again, I go back to just if he knows his route tree and if he depending on where he lines up at, Patrick can tell him, hey, run a 1-2, 1 through 9, something like that. And if Josh knows it, then he knows what to do. I think because of his pedigree, and he's one of the few players that players root for because they believe in him and they know his history, they know his background, they know what type of what he is on the field. Um, Everybody wants this dude to succeed, and trust when I tell you, he's got more lives than even a cat has gotten. When they talk about a cat having 9 lives, I think Josh has had like 12, if not more. But be that as it may, I think his addition, man, I think it's one for me, Patrick can never have too many weapons. I think the more weapons he has, the merrier, because this is an offensive team. Patrick needs to score as many points as possible. When we look at the defense that will give up, I mean, again, remember, Patrick scored 51 in Los Angeles, and the defense gave up 54. So, I mean, that's what we're dealing with, and we're kind of going back to that era right now. So, I like his addition to the team. I think he can only make the offense better. I think it makes the team better. But also, look, if I'm Patrick, if I'm Tyron, your locker room leaders, you want to show that because even when he was in New England, he told that line, he told that that Patriot way. He did get himself a Super Bowl ring, and even though I think he might have been inactive for that game or something, or he felt like he didn't really contribute or didn't feel like he earned it. Yeah, I think he ended up auctioning that ring off. But I think he says he wants to be someplace long term. He doesn't want to just be like 1 year and then try to bounce somewhere else. So so I mean,
He
look,
is 30. I mean, to be honest, whatever long term is, if long term's 1, 2, maybe 3 years, if that's considered a long term, I can see
okay,
that.
but Sterling, hold on. So before you go further, I think Kelsey's a little bit older, and Kelsey has more wear and tear on his body than Josh Gordon does. So
He's also a tight end, and we've seen precedents set for tight ends playing to mid 30s.
right,
There's
right.
not many precedents set for wide receivers playing in their mid 30s.
Well, okay, but he just turned 30 strong. I mean, and again, he doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on his body because granted, he hasn't played over the years as much. But again, that's not wear and tear. That's not football. That's not football wear and tear that he's been suffering. So he can play. If he keeps himself healthy. I mean, hell, Randy Moss was still playing well even when he retired. I think 2012.
Yeah, but you're not going to compare Randy Moss to Josh
No,
Gordon.
no,
Come
no.
on now.
Hold on, Sterling. See, you just like to talk without thinking in context. I'm talking about in context. If the man is in shape, okay, he has not been playing. He didn't play NFL football, I believe, at all last year. So it's not like he has the wear and tear or the hits on his body as a normal 30-year-old wide receiver that's been playing consistently over the last 8 years. So I'm saying he doesn't have that type of I don't I think his worst injury might have been in his younger days. So I'm saying so that's behind him, but his speed, his yards per catch, what he's done on the field. I mean, unless he falters off off the field, and we know what we're talking about when we're dealing with that with him. I don't see any reason why he can't play long term here in Kansas City if he can stay on a straight and narrow path.
Yeah, if you were asking me right now, would he take? If the over under was 3, I would 100% rip the under. I don't think
Three
it's
what?
longer than 3 years.
Well,
3 years in Kansas City.
I mean that's fine. That's long term for him. I mean, look, hold on. First of all, if you can get that type of talent, mind you now, the dude, I think he got what 1,600 yards in 14 or 12 games or whatever. 20. Now, again, that was back then. But what I'm saying is that if you look at his yards per game, even every year that he's played, especially when he was kind of bouncing around New England, whatever, his yards per catch or whatever is like 15 to 19, yards a catch. I mean, if you can get production out of him with Patrick to go opposite of Tyreek, and look, nobody's asking to be a number one wide receiver. Nobody's asking to be number two. That's between you can flip a coin between Hill and Kelsey. But if he can be in that mode of Sammy Walker, look, all you want to do is stay in the straight and narrow path. If he doesn't get sidetracked by weed or anything else, and he doesn't get injured, he can be that number two receiver that you want. And trust me, when it comes to the red zone, it will be between he and Travis Kelsey. That will be getting those touchdown passes. One
Yeah.
just because of the of the radius that you got. He has a bigger catch radius than anyone else outside of Kelsey for Patrick Mahomes. But really, when it comes to the red zone, I mean, unless you're 5 yards in or whatever, and you're just kind of flipping the ball to Kelsey. Again, Josh can maneuver, and his body is so big, and he can push off, and he's that strong. I mean, he just gives you a better target than McCole or Tyreek Hill or someone like that. So.
Yeah, no, I am excited for the addition of Josh Gordon. The reason why I want to tamper my expectations a little bit, I get it. He's different than some of the past reclamation projects that have been brought in by the Chiefs, but Le'Veon Bell, that obviously didn't work out. LaShawn McCoy, I don't think worked out like everyone thought.
Well,
Sometimes some of these
well,
former great
well, hold on.
Shady
Shady.
was okay,
Yeah,
but he also
I'm
had
saying, no, no, I'm
major
saying,
fumbling
well,
issues.
yeah, I'm saying, but Shady worked for what was needed at that time. Now he was inactive for Super Bowl. I mean, look, it is what it is. But be that as it may, I will say this: Le'Veon again. You, let's not forget the Chiefs are really a pass-oriented team, and obviously getting Le'Veon and Shady. I think well, Shady was more so a tip for help from Andy to help him get a Super Bowl ring because he played for him for a number of years. So I think that relationship's a little bit different than the whole Le'Veon thing. Le'Veon, it just didn't work out. I mean, we're not going to try to sugarcoat it. It just didn't work out. This though, again, this feels. You got to remember, this still feels a need. I mean, you can't tell me Josh Gordon, even at the age of 30, is not better than those wide receivers in the room outside of Tyreek Hill.
Oh,
So,
I think talent wise, yes.
well,
But
there you
not
go.
always does talent translate to being the best. Because if that was the case, hell, a lot of wide receivers would be better. When Tyreek Hill was drafted, Tyreek Hill was not the best wide receiver drafted, right?
No, no, of course, but okay.
You work on it. It all comes to the work ethic. And I'm interested to see the work because obviously at some points, Josh Gordon had chances and opportunities. He chose a different path. At some point, you have to keep saying, sure, this guy is extremely talented, but sometimes talent doesn't always translate to stats, to yards, to wins.
Well, understand something. Josh's issues were never on the field. It was always weed and off the field. So I mean, so there's a difference when when you talk about talent. Talent wise, outside of Tyreek Hill, because Tyreek Hill has grown to the receiver that he's been. But had Josh been here, gotten here the same time as a free agent, at the same time Tyreek was here or got here, then yes, Josh Gordon would be the better wide receiver. Now coming in again, like I said, outside of Tyreek, I'm not going to apologize for this. Josh Gordon is the best wide receiver in that Chiefs wide receiver room outside of Tyreek Hill. Because I'm sorry, if you ask any of the 31 other general managers, who would you take between Josh Gordon and the rest of the wide receiving core outside of Tyreek Hill? Who you think they would pick?
Well, I would on it. It
Rest my
depends. If
case.
they're going straight, are you going straight town? Or are you going by what you think they're going to do production wise? Because I think
You can
there's
do
too much
both.
concerns
You can do both.
with Josh Gordon. No,
No,
I
no, no,
think a
no,
lot
no,
of
no, no.
people.
The
I
only
think a
the
lot of
only
GMs would
concern that you
still
have with
pick
Josh Gordon
McColl,
is the weed issue. That's
and
it.
that's a huge issue.
No, 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 no.
That's
Well,
been
no,
shown up for
no.
8 years in a row.
Yeah, but this was also before
This
the
year's
new
going to be
collective
different.
bargaining agreement as well, Sterling. So that's so
Sure. Hey, I agree. I want what's best for Josh Gordon. I think this is going to work better, but it's the same thing where it's like you've seen, 8 years of the same thing, but now this is going to be different. Sure, it's great. We all want that to happen. We didn't think what was going to happen in New England was going to happen because we go, he's with Belichick now. He's with Tom Brady. He's not going to let this happen. And it happened.
Well, first of all, it happened. I think it happened the following season, if I remember correctly. So he was with one team, signed with New England, made it through the Super Bowl, and then I think whatever happened the next year. It may happen in the offseason. But again, Sterling, you keep conflating the difference between the two. You're talking about his production. No one has ever questioned his production on the field. Again, when you ask the question, well, what's it depend on? Yes, it is the off the field stuff. Now, again, as I've just said, Sterling, because you keep trying to overlook this, the new CBA deal happened after was signed after the last time he was suspended from the NFL. So all that weed stuff or whatever, that stuff is no longer an issue. So I'm so his thing is he had to go to rehab. He had to go do whatever he needed to do to get reinstated. But that's not an issue no more because I think they test you once a year now and they let you know. So basically, now I'm not saying this is the Josh Gordon rule, so to speak, but now I'm not saying he's going to go out and do that. So I don't want nobody thinking that that's the case, but that should not be an issue because it's not like he was in the alcohol or anything else. He's just someone that loves weed, and for the life of me, I didn't know it could be that addictive. I didn't think it was, but to each his own. So be that as it may, again, I think that at the end of the day, it's going to work out for Kansas City. It's going to work out for the Chiefs wide receiving core, and it's going to work out for Chiefs Kingdom.
Well, let's come back, take a break. We're going to talk about when we return the Tampa Bay Buccaneers trying to bring in a veteran cornerback.
Ooh.
Keep it locked in. Darren and Sterling here, ESPN Kansas City.
Need furniture? Get up and hurry into Menards for a great selection and a free rug. Buy any furniture at $299 or more and get a free 5x7 rug. That's $149.99 in savings. Want a comfy new chair? Pick one up and get a free rug. Cozy up in a new love seat and get a free rug. Buy a couch or go big with a sectional and get a free rug. Get to Menards before they're gone. In-store only while supplies last.
Save big money at Menards.
What's up, Kansas City? Jake Gutierrez here to tell you about my friends from Lightstream, a division of SunTrust Bank. Are you thinking about the high interest rate credit cards you used over the holidays? I am. When it comes to refinancing your credit cards, you've got options. But only Lightstream was ranked #1 by J.D. Power for customer satisfaction with personal loans. Lightstream's credit card consolidation loans start at just 5.95% APR with auto pay and excellent credit. You could save yourself thousands in interest. You can even get your money the same day that you apply. Apply today for a credit card consolidation loan from the company J.D. Power, ranked #1 for customer satisfaction and personal loans. Plus, get an additional interest rate discount simply by going to lightstream.com/Jake. It's lightstream.com/Jake. Subject to credit approval. Rates range from 5.95% APR to 19.99% APR. Include 0.50% auto pay discount. Lowest rates require excellent credit. Terms and conditions apply. Offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/Jake for more information.
In these trying times, Kansas City Credit Union knows how important cash flow is in your household. With rates near all-time lows, now's the time to take action. Free up some cash by lowering your monthly car loan payment when you refinance your auto loan with Kansas City Credit Union. And as a bonus, Kansas City Credit Union will delay your payments for 90 days. Visit kansascitycreditunion.com/810sports for more information. Kansas City Credit Union, your path to financial freedom.
Squeaky doors, clogged sinks, finicky engines. When things break around the house, you take care of it. However, when something's off in the bedroom, you just try not to think about it. Come on, man, what are you waiting for? Take care of it. Go to GetRoman.com/JakeG now. Why, Roman? Because you get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for ED, all from the comfort and privacy of your home. A U.S. licensed healthcare professional will work with you to find the best treatment plan. If medication is appropriate, it ships to you free with 2-day shipping. The whole process is straightforward and discreet. Getting started is simple. Just go to GetRoman.com/JakeG and complete an online visit. Take care of your ED without leaving your home. Complete an online visit today to connect with a healthcare professional and take care of it. Go to GetRoman.com/JakeG now and you'll get $15 off your first month. That's GetRoman.com/JakeG. It's really time to take care of your ED. And remember, get started today and you'll save $15 off your first order of ED treatment.
Hi, Ollie Gates here. The Gates family would like to say thank you for allowing us to serve you for 75 years, a milestone which would not have been possible without your support. Thanks again, and remember, whatever the case may be, keep the faith.
Welcome back to Darren and Sterling here, ESPN Kansas City, 1510 AM, 94.5 FM, 1510.com. All right, so the Chiefs officially sign Josh Gordon. Well, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are looking at bringing in a veteran cornerback in Richard Sherman. What do you make of this?
Well, they definitely need some help. I mean, if you saw what Cooper Kupp and company did with them, the Los Angeles Rams did to them Sunday afternoon. Yeah, they need to because they need help. Obviously, they've suffered some massive injuries since the start of the season against the Dallas Cowboys. So, and Richard Sherman, look, man, he's not the All-Pro corner from 2014, of course, when they won the Super Bowl, but he's still a lot better than than their third and second and fourth string cornerbacks that they have, trying to go up against these receivers now. So obviously they'll give him a look. I don't know whether or not they'll sign him, but if that's the case, I do think that it would be kind of ironic him being on the same team with Tom Brady. But it's all about wins and losses, man. And Brady, look, if Brady feels like you can help his team win, hey, he's all for it. So I like it.
Yeah, I think it's from an on-field perspective. It makes sense. He's obviously a very good tackler. He's not the same, like you said, all-pro corner as he once was, but he is solid. When you're dealing with, looking at Tampa Bay, one of the youngest secondaries and cornerbacks rooms in the NFL, having a veteran presence, somebody you can bounce ideas off of, somebody you can talk to, and best practices, I think can only help. I don't want Tampa Bay to get any better. We all know that. We don't want Tampa Bay to get better, but I think this makes them better, especially with, like you said, the rash of injuries that they have. Something to at least keep in mind. He has a pretrial hearing scheduled for Friday in Washington. I don't know if any of this off-the-field stuff will affect some of his on-field availability.
Who's we talking about?
Richard Sherman.
You know, I forgot all about that stuff that happened in Washington with his wife. Oh yeah, ugh, my God.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, no,
Very bad.
Because I remember reading it because he could have been killed by the girl's father. Because he was trying to break into the house, or whatever. And if it wasn't for the fact that they knew it was him, and had it been someone else, and because I think his father-in-law said that had he came in, he probably would have shot and killed him. And he would have been justified at that. So, yeah. You know what? Sometimes the sport is needed to step in to save somebody, and kind of like UFC has tried to bend that way for John Jones. I think a lifeline, because I think the San Francisco 49ers have also talked about maybe bringing them back as well. So I think look, when you get to a certain stature, which is what he's attained. He's been an All Pro. He's been a Pro Bowler. He's been a Super Bowl champion, 2-time Super Bowl appearance, potential Hall of Fame career, and then you kind of bounce around, and now you don't know where I mean, you're not able to get that next, not only just that next paycheck, but that next roar of the crowd. And being 30, and it's funny because we talk about him being one of the smartest players or whatever because he went to Stanford and stuff like that. And I guess that's the stigma that comes from graduating from that particular college. But it seems like he doesn't have any backup plans if he's not playing in the NFL right now. So that's a tough ordeal to take if you're someone like Richard Sherman. So if the Bucs throw him a lifeline, oh, he'll take it. He'll take it with no doubt.
Lions are releasing veteran linebacker Jamie Collins. Detroit moving on after attempting to trade him, according to Ian Rappaport. Jamie Collins has had his most successful seasons with New England. Hasn't been great outside of New England. It's very funny. In New England, Jamie recap. Jamie Collins released by the Lions.
Okay,
Chiefs,
yeah.
they take a look?
They bet yes, yes. I know we talked about it last weekend. So that means that they couldn't find a trade partner for him, which is interesting to say the least, because it's like, if you're going to get rid of somebody, why would we give up any draft picks or any assets when you just release them and then we'll just sign them off the waivers? Now, if he makes it that far, if he makes it to Kansas City, because when they do the waiver stuff, Sterling, it goes by alphabetical order. It either goes by alphabetical order or it goes by your ranking, by your overall record or something like that. So it's one of those two. So depending on where the Chiefs are at, yeah, I would definitely be out. You know, well, you know what? We get a chance to talk to Andy Reid tomorrow. Now he'll say that's a Brett Veach type thing, and maybe Spags, and that's the bad thing is that we can't speak to Spags. We spoke to him on yesterday, but if he becomes available, hopefully the Chiefs will take a look and bring him in for a tryout.
So while I think it could make sense from a overlying standpoint, I don't think the Chiefs do. Willie Gay Jr. is coming back.
My
They
gosh,
obviously
Sterling,
are going.
you're killing me.
No.
Killing me with the
Dude,
defense that we're seeing.
Hey, what I would like to see and what I think we'll see are two different scenarios. I think the Chiefs are going to view it as Willie Gay Jr. is coming back potentially this upcoming Sunday. We're going to roll with the young guys. We just spent a second rounder on him. We just spent a second rounder on Nick Bolton. Anthony Hitchens is coming off the books after this year. We want to get younger at this position. Jamie Collins might not fit in that scenario. Whether I think he fits this year or not isn't up to me. That's up to Brett Veach. But based on what we've seen in the past, I don't think that they're going to go out of their way to bring in Jamie Collins. If I was a betting man, I could see Jamie Collins going back to New England, considering that's where he has had all of his previous success. Again, like I said earlier, when I cut out, he was great in New England. He's always been good when he was in New England.
He won 2 Super Bowls there.
Everywhere else. But he struggled everywhere else. So maybe him going back to New England on this obviously team-friendly deal since he was released, this seems like a very Bill Belichick Patriots type of move.
Again, I don't disagree with that assessment, and I would be all for it. You got to understand, it's easy to say he had great success with Belichick because when you go someplace else, they want you to fit into their system versus, kind of fitting your style within their system. And so Belichick knows how to utilize them. So that's why he had great success there. And of course, playing with Tom Brady didn't hurt either. I think that in Spags' system, or if he were to come to Kansas City, I think Spags would not put him out of position. And playing with Patrick Mahomes obviously would be a good deal as well. So I mean, look, playing in Detroit, you're only going there for the money. I mean, you're definitely not going there to win no championships because you can't expect, or you can't expect him to be a championship contender, no matter even if you did follow Matt Patricia over there and he got fired or whatever. So. I mean, if I'm Brett Veach again, what's it going to cost you? I mean, it's not going to cost you. It's like you said, it's going to be team friendly, whatever, and it's going to be for the remainder of the season. So, I mean, would you rather have Jamie Collins or maybe keep Ben Neiman or I mean, you tell me. So.
Yeah, it's all going to come down to, I think, what fits their system, what fits their scheme. I do just feel this Jamie Collins to New England, this is the most likely scenario. The Pittsburgh Steelers, I want to talk about them for a second because their defense, I think, is absolutely legit. I think they have a lot of very good offensive weapons. Juju Smith-Schuster, Deontay Johnson is an absolute stud. Chase Claypool is very good, but they have a massive hole, and that's surprisingly at quarterback with Ben Roethlisberger. Do the Steelers have anything left to offer? Are they going to compete for an AFC title? Are they a playoff team? Is just Big Ben so bad that he's holding them back that much?
Well, according to Mike Tomlin and Big Ben, they haven't hit the panic button yet. So, um, look, man, we believe in Mike Tomlin. You know, I know, at least I know I do. Um, I think I think they're okay. I just think, I just think that, kind of like the Chiefs are just off to a slower start than expected. I mean, again, you can only do so much on defense because you still have to, score with the football, and so they haven't been able to do that. But I think by the time obviously December rolls around, I think they'll be much better than what we're seeing right now. But I wouldn't like Mike Thompson. I wouldn't hit the panic button just yet. So.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Mike Tomlin a lot. We both agree. I think Mike Tomlin's a absolute hell of a coach, especially when you look back and see the personas he's had to deal with over the years, and Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, and even Ben Roethlisberger to an extent has had his own persona.
Diva.
So when he's done that and held it together for as long, you got to give credit to Mike Tomlin. The only problem is they don't have anyone to turn to. Mason Rudolph, that's not your guy. He's never given you any sort of, okay, yeah, he's our future quarterback. Dwayne Haskins, I don't think he's giving you anything like that to show that, yeah, he could be our guy. They don't have a good option behind Big Ben, so of course they're going to roll with Big Ben. Mike Tomlin even said his body of work over his career shows that we think he can turn it around. The only problem with that is he hasn't really been great for a few years now. He's coming off of surgery. This just is very reminiscent to me of Drew Brees last year in New Orleans, where that team was amazing, right? That team was very good. But Drew Brees, as much as you want to admit it or not, or I know you don't mind, but I'm saying as far as New England fans, Drew Brees supporters, he was toast. He couldn't throw the ball. Just because he used to be good as a Hall of Famer doesn't mean he's good in the year 2020. That's how I feel about Ben Roethlisberger. Just because he used to be amazing, just because he did all this great stuff, doesn't mean he's good in 2021. I don't know what the Steelers do, but I think if they want to have any sort of success, long success this year, they need to find another option at quarterback.
You know what, Sterling? That was a good analysis that you actually made. Now, and you didn't even have to use any analytics to that. That was just a good analysis because that's exactly seriously, because that's exactly what I had in mind was Drew Brees, and also to an extent, you could look at Peyton Manning his last year.
Yeah.
Even though I think his last year he won a Super Bowl, but that was that defense because you remember Kansas City put him out the game where he ended up getting benched. For Brock Osweiler in that game before coming back and they won the Super Bowl, but he was not the Peyton Manning that we knew because he couldn't throw the ball either. So no, that's a very good point. I know I've seen clips, I think, of Stephen A. Smith suggesting that they sign Cam Newton, but pride is a terrible thing, man. I mean, that's and it's a dangerous drug because I mean, they actually did try to draft his replacement at one time, but Ben was like, "Man, I mean, you can draft somebody, but I'm not gonna, prepare them to take my job. So they want to take it." So,
Yeah.
and I don't think it was Mason Rudolph, but I do remember that they did draft a quarterback, I think in the second or third round a few years ago, where they were hoping that would be Ben's replacement. So it seems like that if they were to bring somebody in, it would have to be free agent, but for me, it would have to be Cam Newton. But the problem is Cam's not vaccinated, so you can't put your team in the organization, and you can't trust them. I mean, if I can't trust you to get vaccinated, I can't trust you any. I mean, the Patriots getting rid of him. I mean, they had a reason for that, but him not being vaccinated didn't hurt the decision. So I don't know where else they would turn. I mean, I can't really say try to acquire Nick Foles in a trade. I mean, I really don't know. There's not too many options And if there are any options, they're not any good options. So,
Yeah, just because they are or should be a very good team. They have good weapons. Like Deontay Johnson is a stud wide receiver. Juju Smith-Schuster, Chase Claypool, all very good. Najee Harris has been pretty solid, especially his last game. He caught, like 9 or 14 passes, something ridiculous. Alvin Kamara numbers. They have guys. They just need someone to get those guys the ball. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back, talk more NFL. Darren and Sterling here, ESPN, Kansas City.
What's up, Kansas City? Jake Gutierrez here to tell you about my friends from Lightstream, a division of SunTrust Bank. Are you thinking about the high interest rate credit cards you used over the holidays? I am. When it comes to refinancing your credit cards, you've got options, but only Lightstream was ranked #1 by J.D. Power for customer satisfaction with personal loans. Lightstream's credit card consolidation loans start at just 5.95% APR with auto pay and excellent credit. You could save yourself thousands in interest. You can even get your money the same day that you apply. Apply today for a credit card consolidation loan from the company J.D. Power, ranked #1 for customer satisfaction and personal loans. Plus, get an additional interest rate discount simply by going to lightstream.com/Jake. It's lightstream.com/Jake. Subject to credit approval, rates range from 5.95% APR to 19.99% APR, include 0.50% auto pay discount. Lowest rates require excellent credit. Terms and conditions apply. Offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/Jake for more information.
Boulevard believes in easy indulgence. That's why they decided to put Tank 7 in cans. Their distinctly American twist on a classic Belgian-style farmhouse ale takes its name from the notoriously unpredictable fermenter where the signature beer's perfect combination of ingredients first came to life. You could call it fate. Their brewers call it Tank 7. Grab a 4-pack and treat yourself to a Tank 7 today. You deserve it. Boulevard Brewing Company, Kansas City, Missouri.
In these trying times, Kansas City Credit Union knows how important cash flow is in your household. With rates near all-time lows, now's the time to take action. Free up some cash by lowering your monthly car loan payment when you refinance your auto loan with Kansas City Credit Union. And as a bonus, Kansas City Credit Union will delay your payments for 90 days. Visit kansascitycreditunion.com/810sports for more information. Kansas City Credit Union, your path to financial freedom.
Squeaky doors, clogged sinks, finicky engines. When things break around the house, you take care of it. However, when something's off in the bedroom, you just try not to think about it. Come on, man, what are you waiting for? Take care of it. Go to GetRoman.com/JakeG now. Why Roman? Because you get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for ED, all from the comfort and privacy of your home. A U.S. licensed healthcare professional will work with you to find the best treatment plan. If medication is appropriate, it ships to you free with 2-day shipping. The whole process is straightforward and discreet. Getting started is simple. Just go to GetRoman.com/JakeG and complete an online visit. Take care of your ED without leaving your home. Complete an online visit today to connect with a healthcare professional and take care of it. Go to GetRoman.com/JakeG now and you'll get $15 off your first month. That's GetRoman.com/JakeG. It's really time to take care of your ED. And remember, get started today and you'll save $15 off your first order of ED treatment.
Will the real Slim Shady please stand up? We're going to have a problem here.
Welcome back to Darren and Sterling here, ESPN Kansas City, 1510 AM, 94.5 FM, 1510.com. All right, Darren.
Yes,
the
Slim
Bears.
Sterling.
Matt Nagy says all 3 quarterbacks are up. They're under consideration to start Sunday versus the Lions after the brutal game against the Cleveland Browns. Nick Foles, Andy Dalton, Justin Fields. Where do you go? I mean, man, what a tough decision. I don't know if I want to put Justin Fields back there, especially when that offensive line, that looked dangerous.
Hey, man, Stephen A. Smith agreed with me this morning, too. Matt Nagy does not need to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears. He has shown that he is not capable of trying to repeat what Andy Reid does, even if, again, I said it before, man, everybody trying to imitate this whole Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes deal, they are going to be in for a rude awakening because Andy Dalton is not Alex Smith. And to an extent, I was, and not that he doesn't, and not that he wouldn't be, but Justin Fields currently in Patrick Mahomes, because obviously with the talent that they have in that on that team, he should be starting over the other two quarterbacks. Now Nick Foles is the most accomplished because he's a Super Bowl MVP, between them. So if you're going to start somebody, especially if Andy Dalton, look, if you say he can't lose it to injury, then he needs to be the starter. If he's not going to start, then you need to put Nick Foles in there. Because if you're gonna have Justin Fields in there, he needs to be in there without any hesitation and without any reservation.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a brutal game. He was 6 of 20, 68 yards, sacked 9 times, so 1 net passing yard. Overall, just a horrendous performance from everyone involved, from Matt Nagy to the offensive line to Justin. I mean, everyone involved. That was a unmitigated disaster.
Hey man,
The one thing,
he would have been, had I been owner, he'd have been fired. But that's just me.
oh sure, I mean that game alone can be considered a fireable offense. I just don't know where they go, because they do have a pretty solid defense. They were a playoff team, like it's not like they are absolutely horrendous, but that offense certainly looks like it. I just don't know which way they go. All of the rookie quarterbacks this year in the NFL have struggled mightily. Maybe sitting some of these guys a year or so could be the way to go. Honestly, Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, every single one has been horrible.
No, I mean, getting arguments with me on that. I mean, they just haven't had a good one. They haven't had a good coach, and they haven't had a good talent on the offensive side of the ball. So,
No,
and,
I agree. I mean, even
and
Mac
their front
Jones, though,
office
has
sucks
struggled.
as well.
Hey, Mac Jones has struggled with New England. All the rookie quarterbacks have been a rude awakening, I should say. It's not the same as college. Mac Jones is no longer throwing just screen passes and swing throws to everyone. All these 5-star recruits, NBA or NFL players for Alabama, right? They're not playing.
Yeah, you're not at Alabama
Mizzou
anymore. You're not at home anymore.
This was Darren and Sherman here on ESPN Kansas City. We'll be back live tomorrow from 3 to 4 p.m. We are out.